Well, it's a cloud that's hovering over the community of Hyde Park, and we know what that cloud is. That cloud is contamination. One of the biggest concerns that I have, and I think a lot of people, even in the community, have is, will this fix the problem if they came in and cleaned the property up? Me personally, I don't think you can possibly clean up contamination of that magnitude. I think that it's been there so long, it's going to be very difficult to do so. I think that the big question is resurfacing. And I think it would be so much cheaper, or less expensive, if you will, to move them out of the community. You're talking about property that have been there since the 40s and 50s. And when you look at the actual property value of a lot of these properties, it's probably assessed maybe at about $30,000, $40,000, if you will. You have some that may be worth a little bit more. But you can't initially deal with the contamination, not even the stigma that Hyde Park carries. So for me, I don't think, no matter what you do, how much money you spend in infrastructure, how much money you spend in revitalization, redevelopment, I don't think that it's going to carry the weight that it properly deserves as any other community with integrity. So you can't get a developer to come in there and say, all right, I'll come in and build 15 to 20 houses and know that he's going to get his money back out of the houses because of that stigma, that cloud that's hovering over the community. And so I propose that moving them would be the best option. I think that it would get rid of all doubt that they may have, and it would rid them of any concerns that can possibly resurface later on in life in that community.
This is, you know, it's such a horrendous situation. It's so unreasonable. It's so, it's very hard to find words to describe why anyone beyond cover-up, you know, beyond trying to cover up evidence, would not realize that we need to relocate the residents, and the people have to be the first priority, their safety and their health, versus an adverse economic impact.
We just need to be relocated. You know, give us fair market value of our property, where we can find somewhere nice, or either just move the whole neighborhood.
Being that I used to work at a chemical plant, I am very much in favor of relocating the residents. They would have a better chance at having a more safer environment since it's been going on for so long.
After working the struggle with Hyde Park for so long, studying the area, looking at the facts, the studies, all the tests has been done and everything else, and looking at it realistically, relocation is the only plan for Hyde Park because it's a wetland. There's no way to suck up all the water that's under Hyde Park and put fresh water. There's no way of taking up all the dirt and putting clean dirt and making it new. There's no way of doing that. There's no way of doing regenesis here in Hyde Park. Relocation is the only answer for the Hyde Park community, because you would have to move all the residents out, try to clean it up and bring them back in. Instead of, when you move them out, let them stay out in a clean area. You can clean up Hyde Park, but it'll only be used for commercial use. A revitalization plan would never work because you cannot clean Hyde Park up to a standard where it'll be residential area again.
I have my own consulting company. It's called the Lithcott Company, and what I've been doing for the last 15 or 20 years is helping communities like Hyde Park understand the real estate value impact, that the negative impact that happens when you're located next to a toxic site, or when you are, as Hyde Park is, surrounded by industry. And although each of the plants might be operating within their permitted exposures, their toxic exposures, when you add up all of the emissions from the individual plants, this community is being dosed with toxins, air, water, and soil toxins, at a level that would be completely unallowable if it were just a single point source. In other words, even though each individual plant is operating within its permitted toxic release limits, and that's set by law, how much of what you can put into the environment. But with 5 plants around you, there's no protection. There's currently no legal protection. It's called a multi-point source contamination exposure.
I feel like because of the stress And because of the different type testings and the mixed findings, that the people in Hyde Park now have a type of they have a type of depression because of the situation that they're in. You take a person that's invested in their homes for over 40 years and got to the point where they've paid out their mortgage, but they're continually having to do repairs to the same home that they've invested in, all to find out that their home value is not worth anything to the city of Augusta.
I feel like I'm trapped because the value of my property is no good. We paying all these taxes out here, and the property value ain't no good. And I can't sell my home. I can't get a loan or nothing off of my home. So what good is it to me? And I think they done scarred when they said about the neighborhood being contaminated, it done labeled it. So it's never gonna be of value or any good to the people.
Even though there were not supposed to be anything out there, people couldn't sell their properties. There was a church out there, couldn't relocate it. No one wanted to buy a church in a, quote, toxic community. People wanted to leave and move out with their families. And some people, which were supposed to be some bright people, I've heard some bright, supposedly political type people say, well, why don't they move? Who can afford to leave a home and go get another one without selling the one they're in? I can't, they can't, but they expect the poorest people, some of the poorest people in town, to be able to leave their home and go get another one.
I'd like to see some of those people who saying we should stay out here. My mother, I have a house on the corner. My mother died. It's free. It's empty. I'd like to invite them to come live in it for free, if they think it's okay to live out here. Yes, I want to move. I want to get out of here. Whatever means it takes to get us out of here, I want to move. Now, for those who don't want to, that's their business.
I go around and I help people understand, first of all, what's happening to their property values. I don't work so much with the health issues, although I'm completely aware of the health impacts of such exposures. But when I look at the value of a person's property, and I look at the grandparents, I hear about the grandparents or the parents who built a property, and then see it being deteriorated by external factors, and people are ending up in a situation that is not their fault, that's harming them, that has a negative impact on their ability to accomplish their dreams, then we need to step in and look at what other options are.
I would like for me and my grandchildren and my other children to live in an environment where it won't be contaminated, and that we can feel free to go outside, leave our windows open, because while we can't even have the windows open. And that because of the odor. They know about the odor, they know about it too, because like I asked them, when you spend one night out here, you don't even have to get in a bed, you can just bunk out on the ground and see how would you like it.
For us moving out, I think it's a good idea, because for one thing, you can't get rid of contamination like that. Contamination travels. And I know this for a fact. I have to go to school for this.
I'm in 100% favor of relocation because it is the only thing that can save the residents of Hyde Park at this time, is for you all, for the folks of Hyde Park to be able to leave this area. It is just so important because there's nothing more valuable than the residents of this community and of any community.
If EPA and the city of Augusta can spend $10 million to clean up Goldberg, which was part of the source for the contamination, why can't they be just as interested in relocating the people and saving lives?
Well, at the end of the day, when I go back and look at all the data and look at all the studies and look at all what was done in this community, it is my feeling that that community needed to be and still needs to be relocated to some other place where there are no questions about the environmental hazards and the environmental conditions.
It takes a strong, strong group of people to go through what we've gone through, to go from the state capital to the United States capital to our own city government, to go through this year after year for more than 30 years. We've gone through it. We tried to get help, but we're just tired. We're tired now. Something needs to be done.
Again, it all comes back to the only real solution, which is to get people in safe places away from here and to do the best that can be done here to reduce the amount of contamination, but nobody should be living here. Nobody should be living on top of this witch's brew of chemical compounds.
The long term can only be bad for the folks living in Hyde Park, from what I've been able to see. And I personally, be very clear with you, I don't even know why everybody's still here.